The next challenge that we are now having in Kenya is the challenge of having a minister for internal security. And the minister for internal security is one of the ministries that is so powerful and so important that we can place it among something like the Ministry of Finance and something, and even maybe Foreign Affairs. So whoever will be appointed Minister for Internal Security it should take, if it has not taken a lot of thinking, it should take a lot of thinking. If you are to ask me, whom do we take as the Minister for Internal Security? I would tell you, if I were to choose, I would choose Nelson Marwa. I would choose Nelson Marwa. He fits the bill, he fits everything. But then, according to the Constitution, it is for the president to choose the person he wants to be the Minister for Internal Security or any other ministry. What many people do not know is that the Minister for Internal Security is more powerful than the Minister for Defense. The days when the Minister for Defense was powerful, the last Minister for Defense who was powerful was Dr. Njoroge Muigai. Dr. Njoroge Mungai, not Muigai. Dr. Njoroge Mungai, the MP for Dagoretti. But later on, it was whistled down and it was even removed. But even with the new constitution, this cabinet secretary for defense is nowhere near the minister for defense during Dr. Njoroge Mungai's time. The cabinet secretary for defense, even though he handles a very sensitive matter, but the minister for internal security is more powerful and effective than minister for defense. It even makes the work of the minister for defense less powerful, bearing in mind that there are two people there. There is the chief of defense forces and there is the commander in chief. They have taken over issues of Ministry of Defense. It is like during the one-party system, when we had only one university, and the chancellor of the university was the president. So the University of Nairobi was under, during my time, was under the Ministry of Education. But yet the president was the chancellor. So that is why you find that you are a minister, yes, you are whatever, but so that is why I wanted to use this opportunity to compare and contrast the Minister for Internal Security and the Minister for Defense. Now, the Minister for Internal Security, I said, the best person is Nelson Marwa, former National Government Administrative Officer. I do not know whether, Raila is very powerful in this government, and I don't know whether Ruto would approve Marwa to be there, bearing in mind that Marwa really blocked a lot of ODM work when he was in the coast, and when there was agreement between Uhuru and Raila, he had to be transferred from being coast regional boss to a permanent secretary in Nairobi. I do believe that if you compare Raila to Ruto, Raila turnaround is quicker. What do I mean by Raila's turnaround is quicker? You could be Raila's sworn enemy in the morning. By 10 o'clock, you are Raila's best friend. And I tend to believe, and I want somebody to correct me, I tend to believe that being the politician's worst enemy and converting to be one of the best friends, Raila is one of the people who quickly forgets and moves on. And I don't think Ruto is near that. I tend to believe that you cross swords with Ruto, it will take you long to be on good terms with Ruto. With this, I mean, take Governor Isaac Ruto of Bomet. They differed and they are in good books, and he's trying to get closer. You can see from the Moi family, you can see Gideon and Raymond. You can see Kinabuzeki. You can see, yes, in politics, nothing is impossible. But the point I'm trying to drive here is that if you happen to be in bad books with Ruto, it will take you longer, and I can say much, much longer than than your average senior politician. By senior politician, I mean national politician. Most of our national politicians do forgive and move on. And I believe Ruto is among those. But I want to say that he could also not be among the average forgivers. I think you cross him, it will take you long to be even nearer where you are. Why am I saying so? Because the second best person to be the Minister for Security is one Matiang'i. Matiang'i, if I were to be told to choose the best Minister for Internal Security, I would place Nelson Marwan number 1. Number 2, I would place Matiang'i. But when it comes to Matiang'i, I have placed him in the position that I had placed anybody who crosses swords with Ruto. I think you cross swords with Ruto, it will take you time. So it will take Matiang'i time to be on there. In politics, they say nothing is impossible. Even before, by the way, there is a blackout here. I'm using in emergency light. By the time the lights come on and I put on my TV, it is possible to have found that Matiang'i has been nominated as. But I'm trying to say that on average, I think Ruto is a bit hard to reconcile compared to ordinary politician. But the second best the second best person to take the Ministry of Internal Security is Matiang'i. And I repeat, the first one was Nelson Marwa, number 2, Matiang'i. Number 3 to take the Ministry of Internal Security is Aden Duale. Aden Duale is related to me, cha ukweli, because his father-in-law, the general, was our next door neighbor. And so I used to call General uncle, and I used to call, by the way, I was told that Duale's mother-in-law died. I used to treat her as an aunt and whatever. So Duale is related to me this way. He is my neighbor-in-law. You know, when somebody marries your sister, he becomes your sister-in-law, isn't it? And somebody who marries your neighbor, he becomes your neighbor-in-law. So Mrs. Duale was the next door neighbor. When I was doing my Form 6 in Bungoma High School, Mrs. Duale was at this Kianda School. Kianda School is this girls' school next to the Catholic girls' school next to Westlands. Yeah. So Duale is my neighbor-in-law. Hey, hiyo ni mpya imekuja, haijawahi sikika. So the first one is Nelson Marwa. The second one is Matiang'i. But you see, with Matiang'i, there is that problem of his relationship with Ruto. And the third one is Duale. When it comes to Matiang'i, I wanted to remind myself something. I want to remind myself that one thing that Matiang'i has, ndiyo afande. You see, he was hard on Ruto because he even said once, hakuna nyumba ya wababa wawili. So he was following instructions from. He is the type, he falls in the same group as the late General Ogola. Because General Ogola was just said, you see, me, I was following orders. And he proved to be the type of a person who only follows the orders of the current commander-in-chief. And who is the current commander-in-chief? Of course, not Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So Matiang'i falls into that type. And Matiang'i, hey, that fellow is a paper tiger bwana. Vile alikuwa anaongea anasema nini before he became, I mean, when he was a minister, he was even talking of people have come up with anticipatory bail. What is this anticipatory bail? If you rush for anticipatory bail, you already have a guilty conscience. What is this nonsense? He used to like the word nonsense. What is this nonsense thing they are calling anticipatory bail? When the shoe went to the other leg, he rushed to get an anticipatory na wakati polisi walizunguka nyumba yake aliogopa haraka sana. So that is the person I say that is the third. The fourth, unfortunately, is no longer with us. Professor Magoha. Magoha would have been, those are the four people. But then we have to consider a lot of things. And then, supposing Duale is made the Minister for Internal Security. What happens? Now that is where it is. People accuse me of being in the but if Ruto does listen to me, is that there is going to be a vacancy there. There's going to be a vacancy there. Be very careful with it because you see, if Kindiki is if Kindiki is made the deputy president, of which he has been approved before blackout came out. Before blackout came out, I saw on TV that the parliament had approved him overwhelmingly, almost unanimously, unanimously. Anonymous and unanimous is different. So he has been taken, and you'll find that there is a vacancy there. The mountain people will start saying that they had so many positions. So there will be a push for the mountain, for the position to be taken to the mountain. And that push will be a headache to the president. Where does he take? Does he take an Embu? Does he take somebody from Moranga? Does he take whatever? That is, or even Kikuyu diaspora. But I would recommend him not to take anybody from Rift Valley. If he takes a Kikuyu from Rift Valley, I will see it as if he has appointed a Kikuyu. But somebody else will see it that he has appointed somebody from Rift Valley. That is where the problem is. That is where the problem lies. That he has appointed somebody from Rift Valley. So the number of Rift Valley. Having a support from ODM, I would advise the president to take a lady from the marginalized tribes, marginalized communities. Okay, so Ipan is a Maasai, so forget about Samburu, James, Ma community, forget about Ma community. I would have also recommended, I still recommend from, if we have a very good lady, if we have a very good lady from Borana, it would be okay, even if people can say Borana and Warrior are usually the same. But I would prefer that a lady be taken, because you remember the positions are full, and there was a lady who was rejected by the parliament. So I think a lady should be taken that. And many leaders, including politicians and presidents, usually do drastic things when they are comfortable. Remember, when Ruto was to choose the running mate, he chose Gashagwa simply because he looked at the big voting bloc. But at this time, when he is comfortable and he has support from bigger blocks like Luhya, Luo, and whatever, he can, and the elections are quite far away, he can slowly take somebody. He already has a Turkana lady. He has already a Turkana ODM lady. Oh, sorry, former ODM lady. So I would recommend that he looks for any other small tribe. But if I look at all these small tribes, I'm being sent to Borana. Do we have a prominent Borana lady? Because she can be taken. She can be taken she can be taken to any of these ministries, and then somebody else is taken to internal security. But then, is it wrong if we take Laisuda? I know people will say Laisuda from Samburu is joining her Masai, uh, whatever, but there is nothing wrong with just going to Kabrengu, picking all the cabinet from there. If they are fit, hii Kenya tunaanza kufikiria. Look at the first cabinet of Kenya, 1963-64. Half of them were from Alliance High School. Is it? Yeah, Alliance High School. Half of them were from Alliance. And they're even schoolmates. When they met after discussing cabinet issues, they would start talking, oh, head teacher alikuwa Kari Francis for such and such. But then, in case of any lady joining the cabinet, I would recommend Laisuda takes it over, so that another gentleman is taken over to the Ministry of Defense. Nimetetea Wamasai sana. Meara lomon ndau sidai oleng sere nadu. I know Kimasai. Na Kimasai is one of the 9 Kenyan languages I know. 9. Ukiongeza English 10, ukiongelesha Kiswahili 11, Lingala 12, Rwanda 13, 14. Have a nice time.